stripes, see you ain't got a clue. Rose tinted shades, still see all blue. So sensitive to touch, but I'm still unfitted in all black, but you can see me. Playing it cool, just ain't that easy. Out of this world, but I can't find my star. Where are you?
Welcome to a very special episode of How We Bounce Back. Tonight's guest is celebrating a very big birthday. She's my longtime friend. We went to rival high schools together. But like Christian, we're all friends now. She has her master's in real estate finance at Georgetown University. She's a project manager at Lock 7 Development. She resides in Northern Virginia, but her moving resume runs deep. She's lived in both Miami and New York City. She's a low-key member of OVO, but got Bad Bunny on her speed dial. She's a future owner of the Washington football team. She's our great friend, Gabby Garcia. Happy 30th
Hi.
birthday, Gabby.
Thank you.
Describe your feelings on the big 3-0.
It's crazy. The other day I was running and I felt a tweak on my knee, and I was like, I'm definitely 30.
Getting old, getting that arthritis.
My body isn't how it was when I was 21. But yeah, it feels good. I actually think being 30 is like one of the things I look forward to a lot. I feel like some people are like, oh my God, 30, but I'm like really excited. So thank you.
So, Gabby, we all know 2020 has been a bittersweet year for you and all of us. You know, you're a new auntie. Congratulations. You got
Thank
your master's
you.
in May. Congratulations. And now you're 30. What are some of the things you want to accomplish in your 30s?
There's like so many things. I think one of them is to be the best auntie. I have like the privilege pretty much of being able to work remotely and not in office. So I'm able to watch my niece, which I'm really happy about because I get to see her and watch her grow. The second thing is just like I'm already very involved with my family. I try like not to miss an event because that's pretty much like has been my driver for all of my life decisions have been like for family, and my close friends, obviously. So I guess like, in the next year of now that I'm 30, I don't know. It's like, it's kind of like I'm pretty much like settling. I've done all my moving in my 20s, and now I really want to just like focus on family, close friends, and again, like being in the job that I do, which is being a project manager at a developer in DC. I want to build buildings. I want to be able to be a part of affordable housing projects in DC. With elements of sustainability, because I think that's where the world is heading. So like in terms of work, and like goals, that's what I want to do is give back to my community.
Yeah. I think that's one thing we're all trying to figure out, like now we're moving into our 30s, like we found ourselves, we helped ourselves, and we want to show other people how to find themselves and help other people, push forth for other people that are underprivileged, and even anyone, like we want to make sure this is part of a world that we reach out to each other and make sure these people have opportunities, right? Because people might not know like about a certain housing listing or a certain opportunity of where they want to live. It's sometimes they're in silos because that's what they only know, right? And that's part of the outreach, the making sure it gets to the right ears. So I feel like you'll be at the forefront of that. DC is definitely a very developing area where like people evolve, and there has a lot of gifted talents that are ready for the world. And so you you're one of them, and you're gonna really bring up those people within the next decade. So that's amazing.
I think rest in peace, RBG. I think one of her quotes is really touching, and it's if you're not a professional, this is not a direct quote, but in one of her quotes, she basically says, if you're not a professional until you help people that are less fortunate than you. And I wrote my thesis on a senior affordable housing project in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And it's pretty eye-opening when you start looking at demographics in just a small area. And this is like happening all over the world, in our country, in the United States. So, I think giving back is something really important, something that I personally need to work on. And that's something that I'm always going to be working on, right? The more you learn, the more you grow, and vice versa.
We all do. And I feel like, as we get older, the true people in life are looking for self-satisfaction all throughout their life. Like, from, when you're trying to figure out what you want to do when you're young, and then, in high school and then in college, and you graduate, and then there's called this life crossroads, right? And then, you're in your 30s. People are still looking for self-satisfaction. You really get true self-satisfaction when you help other people. Glad that's come to the forefront for you.
Yes.
Let's pivot into another subject, travel. You've traveled all over with your family. I think more than anyone I know, more than my Filipino family. Y'all are on it. Shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Garcia for being the pioneers there. When I looked at and when I was scrolling down your Instagram, I saw Germany, Peru, Argentina, Uruguay, Mexico City, Iceland, Russia. Who goes to Russia? Like, that is crazy. What a resume of traveling. I want to ask you, can you tell us a funny story out of any of those trips?
Oh my, they maybe have been funny in the moment. Like, we went to Iceland. Teresa left her phone on the bus that we were taking, and it took off. And before we knew it, while we were looking through our bags to find it, my dad was gone. Like, I've never seen this man sprint so fast to go catch his cell phone. And so, those are like some funny things. And there's like always like little things that you pick up from every trip. But yeah, I feel like those moments really make, the best memories. Yeah.
Sometimes the emergency moments are like the most high end. Yeah. With the cell phone situation. I hear you on that. It's a spontaneous things that make you remember, those moments. So, Gabby, I mentioned you lived in Miami, New York City, and now you're back in DC. I do want to ask, because we're all foodies here, which city got the best food? And then a follow-up question, of that city, name your top 3 favorite food spots.
Okay, so I think between Miami, DC, and Miami, Miami, New York, and DC, I would have to choose New York. New York has a very large spectrum of foods, different types of cuisines, and they're all so good. But I did, however, I lived in Manhattan, and so I maybe should have went to a different borough Queens, maybe, to look for this particular type of cuisine. But Miami's Peruvian cuisine is untouchable. Yeah. Miami's Peruvian cuisine is top favorite. That is and Cuban. That is what I look forward to when I go to Miami. It's Cuban and Peruvian. In New York, though, I have endless amounts of restaurants, and one of them is Spicy Village. It's in Chinatown. Paper plates, cash only. So good, so delicious. BYOB. We would bring our bottle of Henny and just drink and eat so much. Another one is Wafong, which is kind of across the street where Kristen used to live. Delicious pork belly, all for the low. What else? And then I guess like trying, I don't know, there's just like endless amounts of food in New York.
I feel like you about to go with 30 restaurants now.
But the other one is, which I tweeted about on like the second to last day before I left, was Han Dynasty, Szechuan. Their Dan Dan noodles are, I've been on the search. I usually order Dan Dan noodles whenever I see them on the menu. I still cannot find Dan Dan noodles as good as Han Dynasty. It is like making my mouth water because it's delicious. So yeah, those are like top 3, but it's like, it's a moving timeline because everything is just so good. Mm-hmm. And I want to give a shout out to Kristen Lowe because Kristen Lowe and Bonnie, and Hod, because when I left New York, they did like a going away, like dinner, lunch thing for me. And they literally had my favorite dish of every restaurant ready for me to eat. And I'm still so grateful about that. And I just love that day. It was my favorite day.
Oh my gosh. All comfort food, none of it like bougie, you're talking about paper plates in restaurants. Like this is just families that are really dedicated to their craft, especially in New York City with those restaurants and small businesses. God bless them. Yeah.
I definitely have my bougie spots, but
oh no, we don't even go there. me and you the same, and your boy Evan too. Yeah, I know how you be when you get out here in LA.
Yep. Exactly.
Y'all Nobu and whatnot, Mama Shelter. I know how it is.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Gabby. Before we get into the serious, deeper questions, let's play a game of answer the question or show me a dance. So I'm going to ask you 4 challenging questions. No right or wrong answer. If you decide to answer the question, we move on to the next question. You're all good. But you decide to pass on the question, you are obligated to go ahead and dance for your birthday, and go ahead and hit that stanky leg right quick. So that's the rules of the game.
Okay.
If Instagram disappeared forever, who of your friends would be sick to their stomach?
Evan Mungo.
Easy to answer.
Like, easy.
Would he be scratching, irritable, and everything?
You'd be like, who do I send these pics to? I mean, this man travels just for Instagram.
Yep. I know him. I can be the same way, Evan. So not.
I was literally gonna say you're runner up.
Yeah. I could be runner up, so I could be like you, Evan. We're on the same boat here. Question number 2: rank these people in order of your most favorite. Your mom, your dad, your niece, Melissa.
I don't even know what dance move to do right now. I'm definitely not ranking them. But Melissa, my niece, is my queen. But
hey, go Gabby. It's your birthday.
I can't really twerk on camera, so.
All right, yeah, we got it. Definitely keep it PG. Question number 3: if you could date any of your best friends, who would it be?
Oh my god! I'm like debating about saying this. I mean, no one. All my best friends, all of my best guy friends are like my brothers.
Technically, you answered the question, so that was a loophole in the rules. So you did answer it. You are exempt from the dance. Good for you.
Yeah, there's like my brothers. I kept thinking.
Hear you on that. Question number 4: if you won 2 tickets to the most dream vacation, which 2 out of the 3 friends would you leave behind? Evan, Camelia, or your mom?
Who's getting left behind?
2 friends that you need to leave behind because you won 2 tickets. So you're going to take yourself and someone else.
Oh,
You gotta leave two of them behind.
Evan and Camelia would understand. They would get left behind, and I'll take my mother.
Woo! Garcia. Just making sure, Gabby. I had to check you in right there.
Yes.
All right, Gabby, let's dive deeper into human connection. The first question I want to ask: describe a time when you failed miserably. What did that teach you?
Okay, so this was like a very sore subject for a while. So let's see. I want to mention 2 times that kind of relate because they're both academic. But the first time was in high school. I was always like overachieving, I guess you would be like, I guess you would say. And so I took HL classes, as many as I could, knowing very well that maybe I shouldn't have taken the math HL. And I took it anyways, and I scored very low on my IB paper, and which allowed me to not get the IB diploma. I ended up getting an IB certificate, and it was like a really big deal in my household. And I felt like I very much failed, even though I had gotten into William and Mary. I was summa cum laude. I still felt like I had failed miserably, and it was going to affect my entire future. Now that I'm 30 today, it didn't really affect me. And the second time is I have used my brother has been like my blueprint for all of my life. Or basically he's been my role model, the person that I follow, because everything that he's done, he's been successful at. So to me, growing up, it's like if my brother played soccer, I'm gonna play soccer. My brother went to William and Mary, I applied and I got into William and Mary. My brother went to business school at William and Mary, so I'm gonna go to business school. That was like I was pretty much gutted when I got rejected from business school. Part of it was because I went into college thinking I didn't need to study for exams. So off the bat, I did not do well my first exam, and which counted towards the one of the criteria to get into business school. And so I didn't get in, and I felt like, okay, well, if I don't get into business school, there goes my plan A, and I don't have a plan B. So calling my parents at that time was really hard because they obviously didn't. They were like, well, what are you going to do if it's not business? And I said, I don't know. So I did some deep reflection, and I took a step back, and I had to change what I thought was going to be an easy journey to post-grad. I had to switch it up. I had no plan. I thought I was going to get into business school like easy, and I did not. So the way I bounced back was I thought about other interests. I want to help the greater community. I like business. The closest thing to business that wasn't into business school was ethics, how the market works, and international relations, which is like diplomacy. So I picked those 2 majors, and I stuck with them, and I graduated with that. I ended up not really working in any of those fields. And said I'm in real estate, but I think real estate plays a big impact on communities. I know, so I'm very happy that I'm in the place that I am now, even if I didn't get into business school.
Well, I want to unpack 2 things based on what you said there. Siblings, right? Brotherhood, sisterhood. Like Gabby, you and I, we both have brothers. And so that is one of the most underrated, but the most powerful things that could help shape our lives, right? Our parents are here for us when we grow up to see us, grow up, go to college, get married, see their grandkids. You don't understand how these siblings are going to see additional stages in our lives, right? They're going to be with us all throughout the end. To see that close connection with Mario and how much he inspired you, and he's running Boston Marathon. He's so confident with what he does with William and Mary and being a business consultant. He's literally like the brother that is a hero that you want to look up to, and that's so amazing that you want to follow that framework, those steps. But along that path, there were certain milestones that you wanted to hit in with the IB program and at William and Mary that you didn't hit. You adjusted. So that's the second thing I wanted to touch on is adjusting. That's no one's gonna go through life thinking it's going to be that perfect path and feel like they're going to, go through it unscathed, no issues at all. Like if you're doing that, then please share the blueprint with us, because I don't even know who could do that unless there was like some insane financial wealth that would help them carve that path. But for a majority of the world population, that's not gonna happen for all of us, right? But adjusting is in the biggest intangible trait that a human can hold in this life, just to, take on every single obstacle, take on all, every single setback. Like you had two setbacks, you missed two milestones, your parents had these expectations, you didn't meet them, but I'm going to adjust to it. I'm going to run the best with it. Look, and you're speaking to it now. You're 30. Looking at where you are today. Having that master's from Georgetown. Working at Lock 7 right now, working in real estate, being proud of where you come from. There's dreams that we all have, and just being grateful for how we adjusted and finding new dreams is goes beyond what we could even imagine at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think one of the big takeaways that I've gotten as I've learned and like failed and succeeded and failed again has been to compare yourself to others. Just because it might work for one person, it might not work for you. So it's your job to find out what works for you, and that's something I've learned. My brother, I mean, everything he's done has been really great, but the underlying the underlying rule he's held has been discipline, and to be disciplined and to try hard, and you'll be able to reach your goals, whatever they are.
Amen to that. Gabby, I do want to ask, with this journey that you've had since Garfield, IB program, William and Mary, and you've been all over the place with Miami, New York, and back to DC. I do want to ask, there's more obstacles that are unnecessary, in these, especially in institutions, in schools, in work, and whatnot, Can you describe a time in your life that you had to knock down those obstacles within those environments, or you feel like you've been held back from success due to systemic racism and or being a woman?
So after William and Mary, I entered pretty much the insurance / construction industry. And the construction industry in itself is very male dominated. And I remember as I was getting like promoted through my job that I held through Miami and New York, one of the partners told me, he had like sit down with me and said like, you have to work 3 times harder than most of us. One, he was like, it's a male dominant industry. And 1, you're young. 2, you're a woman in this industry. And 3, you're Hispanic. So people are not, if you don't speak up at the round table, and if you don't know what you're talking about, you need to know, like, you're going to get overlooked. I remember this specific incident that happened. I was leading a project down in Houston after Harvey hit, and every time we would go on site, there would be like the lead person and then someone that like works with you. So I was the lead person at that moment, and else came in onto the site, and went directly to my partner, who he was a man, and that at that moment, like he didn't know he was helping me, right? So the guy that entered the site didn't even look at me. He went directly to the guy that was working with me, who was like assisting me. So that happened. That didn't happen just once. It happened multiple times. So I guess, I mean, this happens like regular, not right. Well, yeah, pretty much regularly. I'm on site all the time, and it's rare to see a woman in boots in a hard hat. It's growing now. It's becoming more popular now, which is like amazing. It's so like cool to see. I've seen women out there with hammers, like doing the physical labor. And it's very inspiring. And I don't know, it's just like something that I'll just never forget that conversation that I had. It's just basically, if you're a woman, you're Hispanic, and you're young, you're younger than the majority of us, you need to put more effort in than what you think you should. So that's something that it's always been a challenge for me at work, but it's been good because I like challenges. I'm always up for them, and so I think that's why I've I feel like I've succeeded in my jobs.
One thing I'm very impressed with what you just said is how you took that in a positive way, right? You kind of you embrace the challenge. You know, you seems like you like the competition. You know, I think there's having your brother, and we sports too, and like growing up in the area that we grew up, like that sort of embrace as to like take on these challenges. And now that you see that being a woman, being Hispanic, being in the industry that you're in, there's a starting line, and then this is where you're at, like, but like a couple steps behind it, like a lot of steps behind it. And you're like, well, let's take it on. I'm gonna take it on right now, and that just shows how much tough skin you have, And I think that's one intangible, that, or I guess it's tangible in this case, that we want to demonstrate. This is a tough world. This is not, there needs to be a lot of systemic reform, systemic change. There needs to be a lot of equity in our institutions.
Yeah.
But you taking care of yourself as a person, to be tough, to take on these disadvantages, to go head on against that, just shows how strong of a person you are. And I hope that resonates with a lot of people. Like, this is a very, this country is built on capitalism, right? Most of the world is built on capitalism, right? It's everyone fend for yourself, and you go, is whoever has the toughest skin can make it to the end of the day. Yeah, be it there's wealth, gap in certain places, but I'm glad that you didn't let these things feel like it needs to put you down, especially in those institutions, like being at a disadvantage. I'm glad that you saw it as an opportunity to be better and to, like, go for it. You should really be proud of yourself, pat yourself on the back, because, that's something that I think we're going to continue be fighting for a long time. Systemic change and equity is not going to happen overnight. So, it's up to us to put some tough skin on, to put, this armor, and go head on and attack the BS in these systems. So
I also want to add that I think part of it is like my upbringing too. Like my dad, he's always raised me, or raised us, to be independent. I remember he really wanted me to take this mechanic class offered at Garfield in high school, because he wanted me to know about my car in case it broke down and how to fix it. He taught me how to clean and shine the rims of my cars, how to change a tire, and do things do things on my own in times of trouble. So, I mean, my parents can take a lot of that credit for what I feel has helped me overcome some of the obstacles that I've had to face.
It's amazing. God bless Mr. and Mrs. Garcia. I hope you both are listening right now. Gabby, do want to ask, what do you think your physical image brings to you? How does this drive your individual well-being?
So it's like basically like the model, right? You feel good, you look good, you perform well. And I personally think that when I do my best, or when I'm able to do my best, is when I feel good. And when I feel good is, it comes down to pretty much, my everyday routine, which is like I wake up, I work out, I shower, and I start my day. Even when I'm working, even during this like pandemic, being quarantined, I've always I wanted to not mess up my routine. I wanted to get up at the same time. I wanted to work out. I wanted to shower, and I wanted to be somewhat presentable, because if I don't feel good, if I feel yucky, or if I've had like a bad diet, I don't really perform well. I try to watch what I eat. Of course, I indulge when I want to indulge. But I do try to be mindful of what I eat, because it does affect my my mind. In my previous job, I had to travel so much. Like I was living out of hotel rooms, working like 10 hours a day, but I made sure that I could get at least 30 to 40 minutes of time in the gym or a run outside, because that's literally what made me keep going. It's not so much about vanity. Like it's not so much vain that I want to have a six pack, or like be. It's not so much about how I look, but it's just how I feel. Which is why like running is a de-stressor for me. Eating healthy is something I work towards too during the week. Maybe not so much on the weekends. Like I enjoy myself if I want that ice cream, but I think there's little things like that that make my day and my engine keep going.
That's amazing. I mean, honestly, it's not about appearance these days. I mean, especially being in the COVID situation this year, there's other things like cardio, your heart, your lungs, the heart is actually the most important thing. Like we see what heart disease does in this country, in this world. My grandfather, you know him, Gabby Tatai. He had a heart
Mm-hmm.
attack. So taking care of our well-being, our organs internally is probably the most important thing we can do in our lives. And I it's amazing that you see through the vanity, you see through the appearance. It doesn't mean we gotta look some sort of modelish way. It's just making sure you feel good, you can breathe, you can you when you work out, when you go on a 2 mile run, and you're like not breathing so hard at the end, you're like, wow, I'm in shape. And then you go about in your daily activities like, wow, I am attentive right now because I worked out earlier in the day. It definitely makes a big
Right.
difference on
Yeah.
feeling. In regards to just feeling good in terms of appearance too, you did touch on hey, there's a lot, we're in a work from home situation, you getting dressed up, you definitely, there's a power in feeling like you're in this interview right now, I'm dressed up because you can talk better, you can communicate better, you present yourself better.
Yeah.
So there is a power into making sure like your appearance in terms of your clothing, or just getting clean after a long night or a long morning, it's important. So glad that you have that recognition about all of that in terms of appearance, but it's, you touch on feeling, and if you feel good, you're going to project yourself well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's part of my everyday. And like shout out to Salu. I do, morning workouts with him, and those are my favorite days. Like, yeah, sometimes it's a struggle to get out of bed at 5:30, 6:30, but it really sets up my day and sets up my week. So yeah, it's just a good feeling. It's a good feeling to be sore, feel like you're alive.
Amen. So lose a leader in that. Definitely. Amen to that.
Yes.
Yeah. Gabby, what was the toughest time in your entire life? You have a long journey. You know, we already talked about Florida, New York, and then back to DC. What was the toughest time in your life, and how did you bounce back from it?
So in my life, what I've I guess been to, I'm grateful to have had um, amazing parents, an amazing support system with friends and family. Um, but I guess I've had three very important people that have passed away while I've been in Miami, in New York. My uncle, he passed away pretty much 2 days after I graduated from college. So while I was like getting my diploma, it didn't almost feel right because I knew he was like, um, it was he was about to pass. And then I was in New York. I was living in New York when both of my grandparents passed away, and that was really hard because, again, as you know, I'm very close with my family. My memories of my childhood is revolved around family events. How my aunts take care of me. My cousins have always looked after me. Obviously, my parents, my brother, but my grandparents were another set of. They watched over my brother and I, and my grandma was basically like my best friend. And so when she got sick, I am very grateful that I was there for a week, the week that she was pretty much drugged up in the hospital, and we were just like waiting. Um, so I was grateful for my job to allow me to be there. Um, but it was hard to leave my mom in pretty much sadness after he had passed. I wish I could have. It was one of those things like, what am I doing in New York? Like, why am I not at home with my parents? Why am I not there for my mom? Like, we could be watching a movie together, like just something, right? The second time, my grandpa, 2 years after he passed away, when I was home for the weekend and I left Sunday night, and Tuesday he had passed away. If I would have known, I would have stayed. So that was pretty much the last straw for me. It was okay. I have nothing. There's nothing for me to do in New York. So throughout those years and all those things that I've missed, whether there were like family events, the passing of three very important people in my life, the passing of my grandpa was pretty much the last straw that said, okay, you need to make a decision. Because at work, I'm replaceable. In family, I'm irreplaceable. So New York and Miami were amazing experiences and I enjoyed them. They were some of the best times of my life, but some of the worst because Miami, I was living by myself. Like, on your off weekends when there's nothing to do, I was in my apartment by myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
New York was amazing too, and I was so close, but not close enough to catch a random dinner with my parents. I mean, I want to know all about my mom's kindergarten stories, but she comes back from work. She works in kindergarten, and they're always like so fun to hear about these like small children and her like just funny stories that I wasn't able to really. Even though I called her and my parents twice a day, it's not the same, right? So I think at that point I was like, by the end of 2019, I was like, I know I want to go to grad school, and I'm not going to go across the country because I have not, like, I'm single, like there's nothing holding me back. So I'm like, the only real driver for me to be anywhere is to be in DC close to my parents. And so I applied to Georgetown and I got in. And I think, so to answer your question, it really wasn't just one moment. It was like my span of my 20s, being away from family and not being able to support my mom when she needed it the most.
Mm-hmm.
I did what I could from afar, and I would come home on the weekends for big events like Mother's Day, and her birthday, and my dad's birthday, and Father's Day. But I don't think I am like so grateful how things line up, because I'm here. I was here for the birth of my niece. I'm here. I watch her every day. Like, I'm watching her grow. I'm like very grateful for these things. And I don't regret anything that, like, I don't regret living in Miami. I don't regret being in New York. I think I had fun, and I think my plan was to always do the loop and come back and settle in DC or settle wherever my family is. My family wants to retire in Miami. I'm going to Miami. But yeah, I think those were like 3 very impactful times in my life that made me ground. It was very grounding. And it just made me think again, like, I'm replaceable at work.
Yeah.
New York will always be there. I will always go there. It's my favorite city of all time. But I'm not replaceable at home. So yeah, I mean, it was after my grandma passing, it was a very, I felt very selfish, being so far away from my family, and obviously very grateful that they were able to support me so far away. I mean, my dad would come up for a day to install my AC. So yeah, it's like, just like, one of those things that it's one of those times in life where you're like, wow, like, I really have people behind me.
Gabby, that was very touching. You can see, I don't know if the audience can see this, but I was crying while you were discussing that. We were very big family people, you can tell.
I know, and I know you are too, and I know it's like, it has not been, easy being so far away.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you can catch up on FaceTime, like, but, it's those little incidents that you, like, would like to be at.
Yeah. I want to touch on this a little bit further. First of all, God bless your grandma and grandpa. I know at the end of the day, they never thought what you did was selfish. Being grandma and grandpa from immigrant families, they come here. They send your mom, dad, they send their kids now to the United States. They come here, right? And then you want your chance to go discover yourself, visit different cities. They were more proud of you rather than they thought of you being selfish. They were so proud of you, throughout this journey of you doing what you wanted to do, living your dream, meeting new people, finding new experiences. That's part of life. That's how they understand that, and they love you. At the end of the day, you come home, and be it that you felt like you weren't there enough times in your 20s to feel like it was, deserving. That's your mind telling you that. But that's not what your grandma and grandma thinks. They definitely are proud of you. They love you. Your mom and dad loves you. That's, they, no matter where you go, they'll always support anything you do. The second thing I want to touch on is how you moving to those cities, you feel like, I'm glad you did say there was no regret there. There obviously there's experiences, meeting those different people, gaining those work experiences. But being a family person, you felt like, wow, I've been so close with family all throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, college, I guess, because William and Mary wasn't that far. West Virginia wasn't that far from home, But like, being away from that, you were so anxious after college to move to Miami. I'm so anxious to move to LA. What is wrong with us? Like, why are we so anxious to leave? Right. And that's human nature. That's human nature for all of us. Like, you you get too used to one thing, you want to try something new. That's everyone's gonna go through that, right? Our parents would have gone through that. Otherwise, we would not be living here in the United States right now. We wouldn't even be born in the United States. Who knows, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So they I'm glad that you felt that these experiences really shaped you to where you did. Your maturity, your recognition for all of this is a thing that not many other people can say they did. It's full circle. You're back home now. You're with family. Seeing
Yeah.
the birth of your niece is seriously one of the most God bless, most amazing things that you could ever experience. Like this has been a tough year, but that is the light of what you have seen this year is having the birth of your niece.
Yeah,
Um,
I always yeah, definitely no regrets. Because the things that I went through Miami, the things I went through New York, job wise, fun wise, um, have put me in the situation that I'm in now, and I think I'm doing well.
mhm,
Um, but also, it was always a struggle to even between friends. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I would see all of you guys in DC. I was the only one in Miami. I knew one guy from college, and he, introduced me to my group of friends down in Miami. But I didn't really have. I like Charles and Ahad. You all were here in DC, and I was like, felt like I was missing out too. So I
mhm,
was always doing like I always felt like I needed not felt like I needed to, but I wanted to nurture our friendships through however I could. I couldn't obviously come up every weekend, but like through text messages catching up, I felt like I did that for a long time because I wanted to. Like I wanted to nurture even from afar my relationship with my parents, you
yeah,
guys. Um so it was like it was a juggle. It was definitely good because I felt like my relationships with my friends and my family have gotten stronger, because distance helps sometimes. And you know I was had dinner with Charles the other day in his patio down here in Woodbridge. It was like me, him, Garrett, and um Stefan, who else? Quasi, and we're all just talking about how long we've known each other and how like much we've all been through, and good and bad. We're all like, it's like such a blessing to have to know
mhm.
each other for so long.
And that's the strongest part of human connection, right? It's longevity with these friends, with our relationships, even if it's a friend for a short time. All these people we've connected deeply and touched in our hearts. It helped shape who we are today. So when you feel like, oh, I feel like I've gotten enough of this, and you go somewhere else and you don't meet, we'll never find the same kind of friend. I'm going to LA, and like I'm sticking with Rosemary's friends because I can't really make enough new friends because they're not the same as from back at home because we connected with them so deeply through our lives. They helped shape us. They saw us in our weak points. They saw us when we were down, and or they saw us when we were most vulnerable, and they saw us in our high times too, in our peak. So that's what's most important. But not once do we ever think that no, we Gabby is left us. Gabby has like Gabby, you were making us proud. Everyone from your family, your friends, your grandparents, yeah, everybody. Your niece wasn't even born yet. She was probably proud of you too. Like we were so proud of how you were going about this journey, brave to do that so early after college, going to Miami, brave to go to big city like New York. Your journey is beautiful, and we're proud of you. And so you don't ever think your journey was a way of missing out from the times with us. It was only making you better, and we were with you the whole time. Always know that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like pretty much like true friendship, right? Like I don't need to talk to you every day and know what you had for lunch to know that we have a special bond. To know that if I call you for a big event or when I'm for something major that's happened in my life, that you'll always be there. And that goes
Mhm.
for all close friends and family. Like we don't need to talk every day, but we
Yeah,
know that there's love there. So
amen to that. Gabby, there's one more question I want to ask you in these series of deep questions that we've been getting into, but I want to ask if there's one big piece of advice you could tell the audience, what will it be?
I think through the things I've experienced and what I've learned is that some things in life may not go as planned. There are definitely curveballs that are thrown at you constantly. Are relationships that and friendships that might not last as much as you want them to last. But throughout all of that, we must learn how to adapt, how to be flexible, and how to see the sunlight even after the rain, to see the purpose after a rainy day, to know that there's a brighter day after a storm. And I think it's important to realize too that I've learned this too, like we just talked about, you meet people, and even though those people might have a short time in your life, they still shape a part of your a part of that chapter in your life that brings meaning to your future, and that everything has a purpose, and you might not be able to find it, but at that moment, but I think you'll see it in the future, in your future. And I think that's always important to note, because it's easy to have a low day and think, darn, like this is it. This is the end. I screwed it up, or something's not going my way. It's done. It's a wrap, but it's not. It's definitely not. There are, and I kind of I hate and love this saying, everything happens for a reason, is like so cliche, and everyone always says it to you when you don't want to hear it, but it does. Everything does. And you just gotta kind of roll with the punches. There's a Rocky Balboa quote, and it's not really about how hard you get hit, it's about how you get up after you get hit. And it's a mind thing. And if your mind's taking a lot for the day, then I think you need to take a step back, reset, and go at it the next day. So I think that's really important. And it's so easy to go on Instagram and see these perfect lives of these perfect people, but it's not. And I think that's something everyone should keep in mind. So yeah, and I think, love the people you love, welcome what welcomes you, accept what's meant for you, and be happy. And if you can give to others, give to others. This pandemic has really been eye-opening. This pandemic has grounded me. It's to the point where I've had such a fast-paced life. It's like, what's the next thing? I would fill my calendar up with what am I going to do next? This pandemic has really slowed me down and has grounded me to really realize what matters. I don't need a lot of stuff. I need family. I need friends. I need relationships. And I think that's something that we should all, we may take for granted when life is happening super fast. And yeah, there's so many learning and touching points that we all go through in life, but it's just back.
Gabby, I just want to ask one more question before we sign off. When you become owner of the Washington football team, what would you change their name to?
Ooh, that's a good one. Because throughout the whole name change, I was like, I don't know. I couldn't think of one that was really good. And I was like, it should just Washington football team. But if I would become owner, I would just change it to the football team. We're it. Yeah, I can't, there's not really I can't think of a name that, I don't know. It's just like, maybe we'd have to do a whole rebrand, like new colors, new everything. Because the colors remaining the same, I still mess up and I still say their previous name, and I'm just going to keep it the football team. THE.
Gabby, we'll be doing something similar for Kaylu's birthday next week, but we prepared a video in honor of your 30th birthday. Check this out right here on the screen.
Happy birthday, Gabby!
Happy birthday!
Woo! You're 30!
You old as shit.
So old. It's about to be a good decade, though.
We love you.
Love you.
Hope you have the best day.
Hey Garcia, I want to wish you a very, very happy birthday. You know how much I love you and I definitely appreciate your friendship. And I'm just so thankful that on 11/11, God decided to bless us, your friends and family, with you. We already know how lucky that day is, and we're so lucky to have you.
Happy 30th birthday, Gabby.
Hang on. Say nah. Happy birthday, Gabby! Oh! Just want to wish you happy birthday and also wishing you many blessings and many more years to come. Thank God. Happy birthday again.
Happy birthday, Gabby. It's your 30th. I love you so much and I'm excited to share this birthday celebration with you in just a few days.
Happy birthday, Gabbo. I love you. I am so proud to call you my best friend and most importantly, my sister. I can't wait to celebrate with you this important milestone in just a few days. I love you. Happy 30th.
Happy birthday, Gabby!
Happy birthday, Gabby. Woo. Happy birthday, Tia Gabby.
Woo!
Hi, Gabby. Happy birthday. I have less than 2 seconds to tell you many things, but the most important thing that I'm going to tell you is that I love you so much, and I'm very proud to have you as a daughter. And I wish you many years to come with a lot of happiness and keep on working hard to achieve your goals. I love you. Bye.
Happy birthday, sweet Gabby. It makes me so happy to see others who love and care about you just as much as us. We love you. You know that you are a joy and a blessing in my life. Enjoy your 30th birthday.
Gosh, thank you so much. I always find this is like amazing because I can keep it forever. And I really appreciate people putting in the time to wish me a happy birthday remotely, if I'm with you today, if I'm not with you today, but it's very touching and I loved it so much and definitely put a smile on my face. And I'm so grateful for all of my friends and all of my family.
Gabby, amazing. Happy birthday. Thank you for coming on to the show. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. You had many milestones this year, but we know next year will bring even greater blessings for you and even into the next decade. Tell Mom, Dad, Mario, Teresa, and your niece Melissa we said hello. Keep up the good vibes as always and enjoy your birthday weekend.
Thank you so much for having me and for allowing me to tell snippets of my life.
Tune in next week for another episode featuring our wildest and funniest friend, Kelvin Kaylu Lewis. He will also be celebrating his 30th birthday, so we have an exciting episode coming for you. As always, thank you for tuning in. Keep the grind going at work and at home. Stay positive, stay happy, and reach out to any of us if you just want to chat or just have a voice helping you in a time of need. Let's keep up the good vibes. Be safe. She's Gabby. I'm James. See you all next week.
Hit me with that motion, but there's still no emotion. In a colorful world, but see all gray. Why is it so dark with all the lights on?